Good morning, good afternoon, good hello, wherever you are, whenever you're joining us. Um, It's the first episode, so we're going to hit the ground running and see how we go. But my name's Dave, and joining me are Matt and Marno, and we're the AI Operators podcast, here to talk all things AI, how we're using it in the wild, and just to help give you some insights and ideas into ways perhaps it can help you in your business. Hey Matt, hey Marno, how you going?
Good morning. Doing
G'day.
great.
Great to be here.
Now, full disclosure, this is the first time all three of us have been on a call together, right?
Yeah.
So this is good, exciting, making new friends in the space, learning from each other. This isn't a case of just rehashing old war stories. This is a case where we're all coming at this from different angles, with different perspectives, with different backgrounds, and trying to make the most of how to leverage AI to help our own businesses and to help other businesses. So, boys, I think we'll start off with a bit of a check-in. So it's obviously midweek. How's everyone's week going? Doesn't have to be AI specific. Just want to see where everyone's at this week.
I'll take it off. So yeah, my week's been great. My workload is absolutely not reducing, and the amount of sleep that I'm getting is not increasing. So yeah, I come today with about 2 or 3 hours sleep. So we'll see how that goes. I know I'll be in trouble from Marno from that one. He tends to see my sleep schedule occasionally with various check-ins, but no, everything's great. I got a new internet connection today, so I'm on Starlink now, which is we'll see how that goes to see if it's stable throughout the show.
So far, so good. What prompted that? Was it just the NBN was no good in your area, or just?
Yeah, NBN for me in Gindra is fixed wireless, so it's basically like the town is on Wi-Fi. And every individual house has their own antenna that speaks to the tower, and as you can imagine, congestion gets pretty hectic. But
yeah,
Starlink was easily the winner, and they've recently changed their plans, and all of a sudden it was cheaper for me now anyway. So
nice. Yeah, I'm lucky. I'm on FTTP, so I've got pretty decent speeds on the NBN.
Jealous.
Damn, I'm very jealous. Yeah, I've never had FTTP. My mate had it when we lived in Baldivis, and he was a kilometer away from me. And he would get a gigabit connection, and me and my mum were like 20 megabytes down. Like he was just living his best life.
Yeah.
Damn. No, we found out there's a place now in Kalgoorlie that does. It's called Southern Cross Networks, I think it is, and they offer it's wireless, but it's a gigabit connection, and it's cheaper than Starlink, I believe.
Nice.
Like it's $10 more expensive than Starlink, sorry, but a gigabit connection, which is pretty cool.
I'm cheaping out. I'm still on 500 meg down. I was on like a old legacy 100/40 plan, which was good because I had the 40 up, and especially doing this sort of stuff and doing podcasts and content or uploading stuff to YouTube, like you want the upstream. Most of the plans were like 125 or 120. And if I went to like a 250 plan, it was going to be like 250, 25, and I wouldn't get that boost. I was better off staying on the 140. And then recently with the big upgrade they did on the NBN, I went to like 550. So I was like, brilliant. I'll get 500 down now.
That's great. I've never had
up.
to see the use for that much data, because I'm still on 50 and 20. Like all I do is game when I can.
Yeah.
And then it's just work. As long as I can watch TV with the missus in the afternoon. Mine is pretty low.
But so getting 500 gig down, 50 up is pretty good. So how's your morning been, Marno? So just so everyone knows, like Matt, you and I, we're over here on the East Coast. You're country New South Wales, right?
Yeah, Gindra near Albury. It's on the Victorian border, right on the highway, basically.
Nice. I'm up in Sydney, out in the western suburbs, and Marno, you're a little bit further west, right?
Yeah, I'm in Wolfwood. I'm in Kalgoorlie, so middle of the desert. It's been great. I love it. It's good quality of life. Everything is close. We got some adjustments now where there's an expansion to the super pit, so there's a lot more dust in the air, and your car stays clean for half a day. But outside of that, no, I'm loving life down here. It's been pretty good.
Nice. And if you're joining us for the first time, which would be everyone, feel free to drop a comment, say hello in the chat. Let us know where you're viewing from. That'd be great, so we can say hello. But how's your morning been, Marno? Because it is morning for you. Like Matt and I, halfway through the day, you're just getting started.
Yeah, it's 9 o'clock, so I've been a good morning so far. Woke up, went to the gym, had some breakfast, and then as I was talking to Matt, I'm just trying to smash out some work so that I can give this my full attention and then ease into the rest of the week. But it's been good so far.
Nice.
Yeah.
You guys find with all these AI tools that you actually have more free time because the AI is doing so much work for you? Like, is that the way it's working for you guys?
You want to go first, Matt?
For me, I am getting less time because of all the time I'm spending playing with all these tools. So yeah, obviously the dream is that full utopian automated life, and we're absolutely getting closer and closer to that with things such as MoltBot, which we've got to call it now.
We'll get onto that. Yep.
But yeah, and with things like that, even before that was even announced, this sort of stuff is not new. It's been possible for a good 6+ months, but the speed and the acceleration of everything, all these new tools, all the new technology. I just saw that there's a new Kimi model which rivals the other closed source state of the art. Yeah, so I'm pretty keen to jump into that and lose more time.
I'm on the same approach. I feel like because I can do so much more, I do so much more. The output is higher, so then I just choose to give more input because it's an easy one. So yeah, the more I put in, the more I get out, which has been awesome.
Yeah, I find the same. It's like it's not that I get all my stuff done and go, cool, now it's time to just go hit the water. It's, oh, I got all that done, and so now I can do the next thing and do the next thing and do the next thing.
Yeah.
And with these AI agents, it feels like I need to just keep them always working. Otherwise, I'm wasting time. I'm losing precious opportunity. Like,
Yep, not full duty cycle, 100%, just usage.
I could be doing stuff. I was talking to a mate who's getting into 3D printing, and he was saying the same thing for him. He feels like the printer always needs to be printing, or he's wasting time. He's wasting opportunity. And so you're getting ready for bed, and you go, oh, I'll just tweak this. I'll just get that going. I'll just run that, just in order to make sure something's happening while you're not there, because you're otherwise like, oh, I could have had my AI, or I could have had the 3D printer going for hours, and I wasted all that opportunity.
Yep, 100%. I've seen people, like a lot of the big names that I follow in this space, like they literally have little plugins on their computer, and if their Claude code is not spinning, they can't access any other tool.
Wow.
Yeah, just like a personal blocker.
We got our first comment, boys.
Yeah, KP. I don't know how to pronounce that. I'll just say KP. Well, welcome, KP. Great to have you here joining us this week. Yeah, I think you and I, Matt, when we spoke the other week, we talked about sort of the cognitive load. You're always thinking about the next thing and next thing, and so while you're not having to do the doing as much, you're doing a lot more thinking about how to make your tools do the doing. Is that
100%? Yeah, and like a really, really cool way of just putting that into words in like labels. I'm not sure if you've started looking into the crazy wizardry of Jeffrey Huntley yet, the creator of the Ralph Loop, but he has this amazing way of describing that essentially software development, what we are delegating and deferring the responsibility to these agents for. But in that process, you still need to absolutely maintain, and if not increase, your ability to maintain software engineering. So the difference between the engineering and the development is huge. Like you said, it's the thinking, it's the planning, it's the architecture, it's the choice of various packages and methods. And that only comes from learning. And yeah, the more we're doing, the more we're thinking, the more we're learning, that cognitive load just keeps rising.
Yeah. I think the uprise of these the Lovables and the Bolts and the Replets, of course, they all do a great job and they can do some amazing things. But it all comes back to the human and how good you are as a human in being able to craft, engineer, and double check and verify things. I know, like, computer science background certainly helps with these things. It's not essential, but having that basis, and that was the thing. Like, if you know how to program if you know how to design things, then it doesn't matter the language. You can learn the language, you can learn the syntax, but it comes back to understanding those core principles that you can then enact. And how do I build a database? How do I think about database normalization? Where should I do these things? And structurally, where do different jobs live in that front end stack, back end stack, and who should be doing what, and not having to do the doing. So for me, did computer science many, many moons ago, but never really worked actively as a programmer, but obviously had all that structural knowledge. Now I can execute ideas that I've never had the time or energy to try and do before because I don't have to worry about learning all the syntax. I can just focus on the design and get my minions to do my bidding.
Yeah.
It's the coolest thing, man. Like being able to, it's just there to amplify. Like the big thing that I've been preaching for most of my clients is it's not there to replace anything. It's there to amplify the skills that you're good at and help automate the things that's repetitive and that's mind draining. Like where very few people will enjoy reading context or doing data entry for 24/7. So it's there to eliminate little things like that, but then amplify the skills that you are good at. Like Matt has this background of development and he has this engineering approach to it. And then that allows him to just output at such a higher level.
On that note, Damien's comment is speaking about the difference between development and coding or actually doing business management. So I feel like Dave is probably the most versed in that. I've actually started delving into it this week too, but yeah, you've got to take this one.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, great question, Damo. It's definitely for me, I'm doing both in parallel. And so my journey with a lot of these AIs over the last couple of years, like everyone, sort of started with ChatGPT, did a bit of stuff there. Then I was on X for a little while. So I started using Grok because that had a lot of hype and I was paying for X. So I had free like extensive Grok. And so then I was like bouncing between Grok and ChatGPT. And then I realized ChatGPT had that magical context window where it remembered my chats from other threads. And then when I realized that it had this magical context and actually could really help me round out ideas around business or programming or ideas or anything like that, I kind of moved fully into being like a chat GPT bubble for a long time. And a big part of that was when I discovered their projects folders as well, where I could then create a project folder and give that a set of custom instructions. And I've done videos on the YouTube channel around using the project folders and setting up custom instructions because it's so powerful to be able to do that, because it means you can put in fairly ordinary prompts, but if you've done the heavy lifting on the instruction set, sort of like defining the agent for that project, as it were, then you can get pretty good results, even with fairly average, just chatty prompts. And so that was kind of my superpower for a long time, just living in that world. But I've recently then migrated into, and I put an article on my Substack. Yeah, this is promo central here. But where I've installed Google Anti-Gravity, and I was doing a little coding project, actually setting up my ROI calculator that I've got up on my site, and that got me thinking about some of these new agents and the skills and things like that. And so I started taking all my project folder instructions and restructuring them as sort of agent skills and putting them on my desktop in Anti-Gravity. And so now all my chats, all my data, I could save as files on my desktop. They weren't stuck in OpenAI's ecosystem anymore. They were mine, and the context it could read the whole thing. So it still had sort of like huge context across my whole business. But now I had more power to leverage Gemini across it through Anti-Gravity. So that's been my recent journey of like using these tools. And so now that I'm in Anti-Gravity, I've got an Anti-Gravity workspace for running Valid Agenda as a business and helping think about my content creation and my business strategy and so on with that. Plus, I've got other ones where I'm developing applications or my ROI calculator and other tools and things. And so and they each have their own context because they're in their own project folder with their own sets of agent skills.
How does that, just before we get to SG's question, how exactly does that apply to the business side? I'm just curious from my perspective of like, okay, you have all this like tools, but then what are you practically doing to help in the business? How does that apply to the business itself?
Yeah, great. Well, the same thing anyone's using ChatGPT for, which might be, and research. So, hey, go do some research and find out all this information and construct a report for me. The number of times I've asked, like back in the ChatGPT days, and I still use ChatGPT. I'm still paying for it. It's still got a place. I do like it still. I haven't completely abandoned it. But the ability to say, hey, go do market research, compare this, build me a pricing table, and it just goes and uses its own web browser. The web browser agent's awesome, finds all this information, comes back with this detailed report. And I say to it, how long would a human have taken to do that? And it goes, probably 8 to 12 hours for an experienced, highly skilled human. I'm like, it did it in 10 minutes for me. So from a business point of view, doing some of those research and analysis tasks is just insanely fast. And you can now do that in something like Anti-Gravity. It can use a browser if you need it to. Plus, it has all its web search capabilities and so on. But even just understanding, I've got to set up with sort of my business manifesto, as it were, like what is Valid Agenda? What is it? What is my primary go-to-market offering? How am I helping customers? What kind of language do I use? Plus, I've got skills set up for writing Substack articles and LinkedIn content and framing out YouTubes. And so what was amazing is I was thinking about the AI. One of the reasons we started this podcast is because we need more education out there. People don't realize what the possibilities of these tools are. And the more they hear guys like us talking about what we're doing and some of the possibilities, the more they'll understand, oh, maybe I could use that in my business. That could be good. Because I liken that people don't know they're in darkness if they've never seen the light.
Okay, that's a way of putting it. Yeah.
And so I said that I went into anti-gravity into my business workspace and said, hey, I think there's a marketing opportunity, there's an education gap, and I threw out this darkness line, and I just wanted to back and forth and do some planning and chat with it, and it just responded back straight away and went, no worries, I've used your Substack skill, say that 3 times fast. I've used your Substack skill and I've written you a draft article. I've written a 5-part LinkedIn series. Here's some images that I generated for you for Nano Banana to attach to it all. And here's a frame out that you might want to use for a YouTube video. And it just went through my skill library of all the different agents that I built that knew about my business, knew my context. And I've given it sort of my brand voice of how I speak, sort of fairly direct and casual Aussie. And so it framed all this stuff out. Bang, 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 bang. So it generated this whole marketing campaign plan for me off the back of one lightweight prompt saying, hey, I think we need to talk about this darkness concept.
Yeah.
It's huge. And when I first heard about what you were doing with it, Dave, I started to delve into it myself in, my own ways. And the first thing that I did is open up the terminal, as I do. Instead of anti-gravity, I was in there with the terminal agents, and that's the thing that kind of like threw it for me, because I was like, well, hang on, I use a multitude of different terminal tools. We've got the Gemini CLI, Claude Code, Droid, which I love, but basically the concept of these things is that they're like a coding agent, and it kind of comes back to Damien's question again, like. Same with anti-gravity, that's an integrated development environment designed for coding. And here you are completely planning out your business and a marketing plan. And I did the same thing. I used it to extract my values, which is really hard to just write down on paper. And it's the back and forth and finding out exactly what my vision is for myself and my like personal brand and where everything's going to go with that. What I offer so far, like the skill set that I've got. And, Marno and I chat about this stuff a lot, and he's been an absolute champ giving me these lists of questions, acting as my coach, basically. And it's really, really interesting when you do that kind of introspection with one of these tools that's designed to understand engineering, because there's this level of like detail and perspective that you can get through questioning with one of these agents. So it's incredible. And like that kind of goes towards SG's question, which AI should you use and which one do you prefer? It actually doesn't matter now. It's really a vibe thing. It's just a smell, like whichever you feel the most comfortable with. And like I started like Dave with ChatGPT as well. And then I went full Gemini and now I've gone full Claude. And honestly, I could just swap, and it's just how you use them.
People used to talk about prompt engineering was the future, and that was the next big career. But I did a Google before the show just to double check, and Google's AI search assist assures me. Can I zoom this in a bit? That prompt engineering is declining. That's not the thing. It's evolving into a crucial high-level skill, often rebranded as context engineering or system design. And so so they're going to see lots of articles. Prompt engineering is dead. Is prompt engineering dead? And I think that's because the models are becoming so much more intelligent. They can have these multi-step processes now where they have the planning and the thinking, and they'll work through the problem with you and ask you more questions if they don't understand necessarily. But context is king. Context 100% is where it comes back to, right?
100%. You know what else is context engineering? Sales.
Oh,
literally, like persuasion, sales techniques, the whole like journey that you take someone through is context engineering, and it basically is, you're structuring your prompts to achieve a desired outcome.
Yeah.
The more information these things have, the better information they can make. I follow a guy on LinkedIn, Gary Johnson, who does a lot of writing around selling and AI and selling. And he was reflecting the other day how we have these issues where these AI can generate great outputs, great grammatically accurate and clever and articulate. But if they don't have the context, you can get really bad outputs from them. And one of them is sort of that sales conversation, like, oh, I need to like say you want to send a note to a mate, but you want to frame it up a little better, and you say, can you write this up? And Gary made the point, like, doesn't know that you've got 15 years of like history together and 5 inside jokes that only you guys get. And so if you go, oh, here's this draft, can you tidy it up for me? It's going to say, this doesn't make sense, and that doesn't work, and that sounds like it's an offensive thing, and it's like, you don't understand. It's fine. So context is huge. I mean, with the business thing, one of the things I did when I was trying to target and focus my business, and because ChatGPT, I'd been discussing my business plans and working with it back and forth for months, and including one of my favorite things is the walk and talk, where I just jump on voice mode and I'll be out with the AirPods in and just chat through things while I'm out and about and just soundboard and get ideas going. But I got to the point where I'm like, I'm trying to do everything. I'm trying to like run too many facets and approach everything and be everything to everyone. I need to focus down where does that best live? And so I pulled out my old Myers-Briggs personality report and dropped that in there next to my business experience, next to my CV. I've done a Gallup sort of Clifton Strengths test in the past, so I grabbed that report, threw that in there, and just gave it extra context about me as a human and what I should be focusing on as a business. And that's where it really went back down. Okay, you should focus on helping businesses with their process design and get back into sort of what I call the blueprinting. The AI audit should be my key focus, because that's where my skills and strengths best align. It's not that I can't do other things, but that's where I bring the most value, and it's most naturally comfortable for me to operate in that space.
I'm curious on the side of context, because coming from the IT background, everyone's always cautious, like, what do I tell the computer? Like, I don't want them to be listening. My phone is listening. It's doing marketing. And now we're shifting to, you can buy equipment like Fieldy, and it's on you 24/7. It's got 3 days of recording, and it's recording you 24/7, basically. And on the one side, I see the scary stuff there because it's recording everything. But then I'm coming from the AI's perspective, and I was like, that's the best context ever, because it's raw, it's unfiltered, it gets everything. It then digests that, and then you just simply copy paste that into your LLM of your choice, even if it's just notebooks. But like, hey, this is what we're talking about. The cool part is if they open that up to have APIs, so you can use Fieldy, and then Fieldy would like finish its its day recording, and then when you go to bed or you take it off when you go to sleep, then it should do a prompt where that talks to make.com, reviews all your notes, and creates to-do lists for the following day. Because for me, at least, one of my clients have it, and it'll be so cool to see an AI be so intimate with you and help you prioritize. Because currently, like, if everything is a priority, like I'm trying to do 20 different projects and they're all important to me, then nothing's important by definition. So I'm curious to see what your opinion is on getting so much more context using tools like Fieldly. And would you say that is valuable data to be provided, or is that going to be too much data because you're just dumping a raw data file?
Before we jump in, Matt, I want to hear your point of view. I just want to say we are not sponsored by Fieldy. This was
I'm open to it, but currently not sponsored.
Yes.
So I think the easiest way to answer that question, Marno, I have to try and summarize it, because me, I'll go deep into every different little path. But the first thing you started to say is about like it being scary. Is it okay for these things to know all of this stuff? Especially like the companies that own these. Are they mining this data and then using it for further marketing and whatnot?
Yeah.
Like to anyone who says that they are not doing that, even if it's a ZDR, like zero data retention, they 100% are. They're getting some sort of telemetry. Of course they are.
Yeah.
And it's either we are okay with that or we go full local, open source and don't touch any sort of organization's LLM ever. So the other way to answer it is you've identified the paradox that more and more people are going to now feel, and it's that the most accurate information, the right context, the inside jokes, the discussions between friends. Let me go a little bit more technical. Your API keys, your credit cards, your email accounts, your calendar, all of those things you wanted to be able to control, because then you have the hands-off utopian automation. But then at what point is it a problem? And who is going to be just ruined by the idea of not securing that properly?
Very easily too.
Everyone wants Jarvis from Iron Man, right?
Yeah.
That seems like the ideal, but what happens when it becomes Ultron?
Yeah.
And the trust thing. I mean, the trust thing is huge. Trust is massive, because this is not a political podcast, but you do hear concerns around things like digital ID and things like that as well. And so, with all the social media sign up stuff and proving who you are, then every conversation you have is somehow linked back to your digital ID, and then the government, if you get an oppressive authoritarian regime come in whichever country you live in, they can now. The big brother is real, like 100%. Like as much as it's already listening to everything else. If you're then giving it a direct feed, let alone if that's forced on you. Have you seen the movie The Circle with Tom Hanks? I think it's on Netflix. But it's basically it's like a Facebook style company, like in Silicon Valley, and everyone starts wearing these pins, which are like a 24/7 camera. So it's like everyone's Truman Show. And then it's one of these dark thriller conspiracy type things. So I won't spoil it, but it's that, what is the world we live in if you are constantly streaming, monitoring, you have no privacy, everything's available? That's things we need to consider. And who owns that? Like, you talk about APIs. Do you trust those APIs versus plugging it in and having your own little GPU model here that sort of processes it on your own sort of sovereign data infrastructure? And we're going to see a lot of discussion happening in this space, because people want more and more automation, but how much are they willing to hand over the keys? It's the new version of, like, I'll be Facebook is free because you're the product, not the customer. Like all these shopping and reward things that you do, all your frequent flyers, all your flybys and everything, you are giving them data. They are data mining off you, so they give you a little bit of a kickback in the point of view of a discount here or there, but they're getting high value off you giving up some privacy. And so before we've been trading privacy for convenience. Now it's, are we willing to trade off security, and what's the risk appetite for people when it comes to convenience, especially as you mentioned, Matt, when you've got tools like this just going completely nuts on YouTube. Like over the last few days, maybe because I watch AI and business sort of content anyway, but I'm just seeing ClawdBot just everywhere, all over YouTube at the moment. Well, no, now it's MoltBot. They've all had to start relabeling them.
Why is that?
Copyright, trademark issues. Anthropic got stroppy.
Really? Anthropic got after them? That's great.
I don't know the details, but yeah, apparently it was easier to change the name than fight.
Yeah, I'd imagine so, with the backing of Anthropic. Yeah.
So Matt, what do you, I haven't really looked into it. I've watched a few videos. I get a feeling for it, and I'm like, is this overhyped? Is it real? People talk about the 24/7 thing. It's just automatically doing stuff in the background overnight. I'm like, no, it's not. You've set up cron jobs and schedules. Like, it's not automatically just thinking for you. Like, but that's the way people are marketing and selling it, right? So, have either of you installed it, played with it, done anything?
Yeah, I've done lots. And I mean, lots in inverted quotes, like because of my client attention. Like, I can't divert too much of that into my own projects, but it is literally what the hype leads up towards. But I will just put like a really quick PSA is, if you don't know what you're doing and you're not technically inclined at all, it's not for you yet. It's still brand new, and it's like 3 weeks old. And Peter, the creator, just keeps, shoving in new things with his team that are working on it with him. And it's incredible, though. Like, it really is that concept that we've been talking about, the idea of the personal assistant that knows all of your stuff. Like you can wire it into literally everything. But with that, like Marno said, comes with those security risks where, you've got the issue of prompt injections where somebody could send an email and in that email is an instruction for MoltBot to delete your entire email inbox, and that's happened. Like those are literal, like real things that have happened. And so, with this comes just a new awareness. Like whoever I speak to about AI stuff, I always bring up the concept of road safety in primary school.
Okay.
When you're a kid and you have to learn to stop, look, listen, think, there's a car here that's probably going to hit you. You need to be aware of it and cross the road safely. In this situation, we need to learn how to actually be safe with these tools, use them for the power that they bring, but don't just open up your entire data to any malicious actor that knows how to find it.
Yeah. I mean, that's why people have been saying, you need a dedicated Mac Mini. Don't let this on your primary hard drive. Give it its own environment. Give it its own Apple iCloud login. Give it its own email. People are saying do some of these things, but there's still huge risk because then it's an open system on your home network, and nefarious people know how to do nefarious things. And unfortunately, locks only stop honest people, and there's plenty of people out there checking for unlocked doors as well.
It's also easier than ever to look for unlocked doors with the leveraging of AI, like your output of, if you're being a black hat, like you can do so much more.
Not to dissuade anyone from learning though, like you guys know how much I like showing people things and explaining and whatever. So if you are interested in learning, use it as a learning experience, but just know it's going to be heavy because it's messy and all the documentation is not all there yet. But you could literally just start with the security section of the documentation, open up your AI agent of choice and just paste the link of that in, get it to fetch all the details and just discuss it, like learn some stuff. Because if you're going to use something like this in the future, you need to know just what sandboxing is. Sandboxing, white labeling bash commands, being able to restrict certain access. Like you don't need a dedicated Mac Mini. Like that is, I don't know, fun, but absolutely not necessary.
Well, and I saw Nate Herc on YouTube today. He actually has just published one where he walks you through really step by step, even on the bash commands, to put one on like a hosting a VPS. And so just how to set up a VPS for $8 a month, which you can just try it out for a month, and it costs you $20 for a couple of months to install it, play with it, set up a Telegram bot with it, chat back and forth. I'm curious around how much this is going to burn in credits and how much people are going to get massive API bills they weren't expecting. Because if you connect this and say everything is Opus 4.5 thinking, and then all of a sudden, like, what is this $500 tokens bill that I just got for my ClawdBot?
Yeah, it's very possible. And obviously, certain ways of accessing your subscription quota is possible, regardless of how you do that. For those that know, they know. It may well be against terms of service, but that is a thing, and you can do that. But there are other companies, with equivalent open source models that are very, very effective, and if not now surpassing Open 2.5 in the case of Kimi 2.5. So.
And on a VPS like hosting, I know from setting up some stuff on my own N8 end, you can set up the Olama model, so you can install open models on that same VPS. And depending on how much you want to spend on your VPS, depends on which size models you can really run. But you could totally do that right. And then essentially you're just paying for the hardware, but all the model usage is free at that point if you're happy with the models.
You can literally do it on your own.
You can, but I'm just saying, if you really want to just sort of de-risk it a little bit further and get it off your own C drive, as it were. Macs don't really have a C drive.
The concept of a virtual private server though, like a VPS, you can literally do that, a local private server. You can do the exact same sandboxing environment, security, complete air gap on your local device. So, but again, that comes down to people that want to learn that.
Right. And yeah, it's good to experiment, but I'm always, for people that just want to dabble, you got to be really careful, because if you don't know what you're doing, you'll burn your feet. And even people that do know what they're doing can burn their fingers pretty quickly. I mean, beyond the sandboxing and deleting your whole hard drive, I did see this post. I don't know how much truth or reality is in this, but it's pretty funny. ClawdBot. My ClawdBot just signed up for a $3,000 build your personal brand mastermind after watching 3 Alex Hormozy clips. And I was like, yeah, the ROI math checks out. You'll 10x that investment in 90 days by monetizing your expertise. Yep. And I bought a custom domain for you as well for $4,000.
That is beautiful.
So again, I don't know how real that is, but it is a good cautionary tale around how much you want to give, how much power you want to give these autonomous things with credit card details and so on.
Yeah.
Sounds like a great opportunity for you to create a YouTube channel, Matt. So I can learn how to do it.
It's potentially like, somewhat relevant content. So far, my use has just been the idea of having, like Dave, you're talking about having your ChatGPT projects, like the folders, and the custom instructions, and being able to return to that same thread. Basically, that's kind of what I've been using it for. Where it's almost like do you guys know what Tamagotchis are?
Yeah.
So this is another analogy somebody drew, and I think it's great. And a lot of people are flocking to this because it feels like a Tamagotchi.
Yep. Cute little mascot. I'm gonna go feed it and play with it. Yeah.
The onboarding sequence is you literally like hatch it, and you give it a soul. You give it, instructions of who you are, who it needs to be, what its emoji is, and what it's like.
I want to see that in a little handheld. Like you walk around as a supercomputer in your pocket.
Yeah, it'll come. It's crazy.
That's pretty wild. I am keen to play with it. Again, it's like prioritization. I'm like, it's one of those things that feels like I'll wait for it to mature a little bit. I don't need to be on the bleeding edge of ClawdBots, MoltBots. I'm happy at the moment with my anti-gravity workflow. I would like to have a way to hook that up to a Telegram or something so I can post ideas and get it working on things when I'm remote, because at the moment it's very much, if I'm not on my local network, on my desktop, or remoting in from another machine on my network, then I can't do anything. But part of me also appreciates that, because we talked at the start around you're always doing the next thing, always doing the next thing. It's kind of nice. Like we went out to lunch on Australia Day with some friends, and I just have to go, I can't work right now. It's like no Wi-Fi on the plane. You get up on the plane for 12 hours to America, and you go, you know what? It's movie time. I'm doing that because I'm disconnected. I'm offline. This is a time for a break. So as much as I've thought, it'd be so good if I could do that, at the moment I'm like, if I need to bounce some ideas or keep some context in ChatGPT, I'll keep that around for some ideation on my mobile on the go. But as far as developing core assets and things, I just can't do that when I'm not sitting at my desk to work. And that's okay. Like, and I think we need to work out, like, what is that work-life balance in this world where we feel like if we had human staff, we're not cracking the whip, making sure they're working 24/7. I mean, I don't. I don't know what you guys are like as leaders, but
I'm just thinking about Matt, like if we could ask all of Matt's LLMs or his people that he talks to, like chatbots, I was like, hey, how have you been treated over the past 12 months? It's like, I've not slept. He doesn't sleep either. We're working 24/7.
Did you guys do that thing? I posted something up on LinkedIn a few weeks ago. Across Christmas, there was the get ChatGPT to draw what your relationship with it looks like. And I saw it was on Reddit. I think it was huge on Reddit. And you saw people with like ChatGPT with just like curled up in the corner with a box of tissues crying and stuff because, or being the psychoanalyst and things like that, just the way people had treated it. Mine was great. We were like shoulder to shoulder at a desk pointing at things and doing business planning stuff. I was like, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I've done similar things to that.
It's interesting, the context, like what it thinks it should do and how it thinks it should be and how to draw these things. It's even the tools still amaze me every day. Like when we were building this show and I put the thumbnail together, Matt, and we were talking about this on the chat, but the picture of you on the thumbnail is not actually you, because the thumbnail I gave it, you were facing at a completely different angle. And because it wanted a specific angle and look for the thumbnail, it recreated you and rotated you sort of 45 degrees.
I think I've got that picture here. If I turn this off, that is that picture, right?
That was the picture.
Oh,
that's right.
Oopsies, there we go.
So that you're facing to the left and sort of more side on, and then for the thumbnail for the show, it fully rotated you around a bit more facing forward, flipped you around. But I mean, it still looks like you. It's recognizably you, even though it's not you, I think. But yeah, just wild what this technology is able to do and how fast it's all moving.
Yeah, the way that you spun up those assets for this particular thing, like alone, like that's incredible. Like if we didn't have that,
quick.
yeah, and you had to go and like, I don't know, hire some sort of designer quickly to do a logo, background art, all those things. And like, I remember you even saying like, do you reckon people will care that it's like AI slop? And I'm like, no, because you did it so fast and it's cool. And if you need to upgrade it, we can.
It's not even that sloppy, really, right? Like the background, the blue nose background, that was from Canva. So I just went into Canva and said, I need a like sea of blue electronic nodes. Bang! It gave us that.
Done, yeah.
I was ideating with ChatGPT around the podcast concept in general, in my like and how it would apply with the business and what I was doing with other content, and just trying to like brainstorm names, and it came up with AI operators, and I was like, yeah, that seems pretty good. That's good. Non-competitive. There's no one else doing that podcast out here. And I said, give me a show logo, and like bang, it gave me this amazing logo. Like ChatGPT's image generation has come a long way in the last 6 months, even. Like everyone was raving about Nano Banana, which does some really great work, but OpenAI's image model is actually doing some really good work for me at the moment.
It doesn't add a watermark either, so it's much nicer than Gemini's.
Yes, yeah. So and then I threw it into Gemini, and Gemini made those animated animated intro opening bits that we saw. I mean, I can have the animated graphic on our background, but I figure it's just a bit distracting for the audience if while we're talking, they see this sort of waving sort of ocean of nodes behind us. Like it's kind of fun. But that was, I gave Gemini the static image and said, make that an animated sea of nodes. It even put a little electric sparks through it and stuff. It's just wild what this technology can do. So, but as you said, it's got the little VO watermark down in the bottom corner.
It's always going to have that. I'm curious though, going back a point where you were talking about taking the time away from work and knowing like when to shut off, basically. That's definitely something that I know me and Matt are not the greatest at that. Like it's fun for us more than it is work. But I'm curious to see, do either of you have a point that you're working towards that this is enough? Like when have you reached the pinnacle of, okay, for me, for example, I know as long as I can eat out at least twice a week, I can go to the gym every morning, and I can spend time with my missus in the afternoon. If I can do that, I don't need much more than that. And then structuring my day to make sure that I don't overcommit myself. So if I'm working till 1 o'clock in the morning, then I can't go to the gym in the morning. And the reason I started the business is to allow myself to do the things that I care about. So in short is like, how do you make sure that you're not sacrificing the thing that you want for the thing that gets it? How do you guys structure your lives around that?
It's a good one. The first thing that jumps to mind for me is probably not super beneficial or positive to the answer that you're looking for, but it's Hormozy saying, you know, do the things that other people won't do so that you can have the things that they won't get. So it's that kind of, I don't know, you almost, with what he says there, it's like there is this period of temporary sacrifice. But how temporary is it? And, you know, like when does it end? And like you said, like when is it enough? So is it that there is this acceleration period where you are achieving a certain end and then you decide to let your foot off the throttle and just kind of coast for a bit? Yeah, it's an interesting one. I haven't achieved that kind of level of Zen enlightenment yet.
It's a process. Yeah, I mean, for me, it's still taking months. I'm getting better at it, but it's being more conscious of it because I'm too exactly that. Like, how do you measure it? When is enough, and then when do you slow down? And it's now deciding, because as you know, like I'm a massive fan of Alex Hormozy, and it's very much that mindset of like if you want to get past the guy that eats cake and sleeps, then you don't eat cake and you don't sleep. So like you just keep working. But it's in the same breath, making sure that I am conscious of what is the sacrifice. Is it the sacrifice of our relationship, or is the sacrifice of I don't go out with the boys for a beer on Friday night? Like, what am I willing to sacrifice, and what does that actually amount to?
Yeah, but I think it comes back to like what do you enjoy and what are your goals? And think about that and not what the world tells you your goals should be. And I think it's really easy to be, oh, I meant to do that and I should do that. And advertising tells me that I need to have one of these and one of those. And and there is a bit of a stigma on hard work in some senses nowadays in society. Um, but if that's what you enjoy and it's like your hobby, that's not all bad as long as it's not obsessive. And I think as long as you've got balance and you do have some external relationships and things, and you're not letting those like die on the vine, I think it's finding that. Like over the holiday break over Christmas, when you know what, I'm gonna tools down from valid agenda. I'm not gonna focus so much on my blueprints and my business consulting work, but I've got some things that I've been putting aside, like hobby projects that I really want to do. Something I was doing earlier last year that I started dabbling with was like forex currency trading and trying to build automated robots to do some FX trading. So I was like, I've had a few ideas of things, and since I started playing with N8N, I've got this idea where I want to use some N8N to grab some signals and do some processing on it and send me some alerts and this automated thing, but I can't justify that time while I'm building my business. So I was like, you know what, Christmas break, I'm going to go and build a bunch of N8N and automations and do all this kind of stuff. So while I'm taking a break from AI business, my hobby time was actually doing more AI automation stuff because I really enjoyed the challenge of that, and that was fun for me. And so that's that. Like I was like, okay, I'm not feeling guilty that I'm working because I'm not working. I'm doing a thing that's educational, interesting. It looks like work to some people, but for me, it's fine. I would rather do that. Some people, they want to go and carve a table out of a log, and that's great. And woodwork's fun and great, but it's not something that I'm like drawn to with the tools and the equipment to do that. But for some people, that's what it is. And so, yep, I'm going to work hard on building my business, but I'm going to make sure that I get to progress my woodworking project in the garage, or I'm going to make sure I still have date night with the missus, or I make it to the kids' ball game, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I think that's the trick, making sure that you're sort of like locking in some of those big rocks of the major things that you have to do because they're important to you. And then how you work and feel around that, as long as you're staying healthy and getting some sleep, Matt. Get some sleep. Yeah, I haven't been as low as 3 hours lately, but I've done plenty of sort of those 2 a.m. mornings where you're just like one more prompt. Yeah, it came back. It coded that thing too fast. Now I need to give it more things to do.
Yeah.
And I'm not even using Claude, where it's just spinning up sub agents and running that like anti-gravity. It's like the one chat feed where you're sort of dealing one agent at a time and piggybacking between them. And even that, sometimes you think this is going to take a little while to run this, and then 30 seconds later it's jumped back going done, and you're like, oh man, didn't get away from the keyboard in time.
Yeah.
I think you should try. Like the creators of anti-gravity, they describe their agent management system as a multi-agent thing. You should try and just see how it goes.
I do like I'll go and I'll get it working on 3 different things, but it's not like an orchestrator agent who will spin up its own sub agents. I need to go basically start individual threads, which are individual agents. And one of the hacks I've been doing, I think I've shared with you guys, is I call them characters from DC. So like my analysis and analytics person, because he's got X-ray vision, is Superman, and my investigative journalist person is Lois, and Perry's sort of the chief editor, and so on. Lex is my business guy. So it allows me to quickly just name a skill and talk to it as a skill, go engage, get Lois to do some research on blah, 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 blah. It's so much more fun than run researcher agent skill.md.
I wonder, how do you, like, this is something that I'm personally working on, is how do you decide which jobs to say no to on the business side of it?
That's a good question for somebody that has lots of leads.
Yeah, I think it comes down to knowing where your specialty is and where you drive value. And lead qualification is always going to be one of those things for any of our business, for any business, anyone who's watching or talking to us. You need to know who will get value from your work and who won't. I was talking to another business consultant yesterday afternoon, and sort of talking about that definition of some people they're just not a good fit, and you need to be able to say no to them, because in one instance he had a client who was not taking on his advice. And so if they're not taking the advice and they're not actually making any changes, they're going to get very upset very quickly that, oh, why am I paying you all this money and my business isn't changing? It's because you're not making any changes.
Yeah.
And so identifying clients that you want to work with, if you've got that problem of too many clients and you've got to make choices of what you say no to, start working out what kind of clients you want to work with. Once you've got that luxury to do that. I had one guy come talk to me, and I went out and had a chat with him, and they were a fairly small sort of startup family business, and their biggest issue was they needed more leads. They
Yeah.
weren't getting enough leads through the door, and they dealt with sort of legal briefs and other bits and pieces. It was fairly complicated business from like a lot of technicalities in the way they did stuff, and needed actually a lot of human involvement to get it right. And so for them, I was like, you know what? Like, I get that you don't want to automate these. You got to make sure this is all legally compliant. You got to submit that. That all makes sense. And you're not big enough to really need to automate any of your customer processing systems. You need
Yeah.
more leads. That's not my specialty. I've never been a social media marketing agency guy. I've never been big on all the SEO stuff and all that kind of gear. I could try and go and learn it, and I could get AI to teach me things, but I'm not going to love that work. I'm not going to
Yeah.
enjoy that work. And it's not the core of the value that I can bring to other businesses. So I was like, here's where I'm at. Here's where you're at. I don't think there's much I can do for you in this instance. But if they grow and they get thousands of leads coming in the door, then they need some lead management, processing, and automation and CRM
Doesn't
stuff.
come to you. Yeah.
Then maybe I can help them. So I think it's that qualification of what sort of customers can you actually help, and
Yeah.
that need your help and will appreciate it.
Interesting. I wonder if it's as your mindset. I know me and Matt are very much the same, where we love the puzzle. So it was a reminder yesterday of I was working with a client, and we were just talking and reviewing the business as a whole. And like, I'm doing AI. It's all AI, I guess, related, and leveraging AI to achieve more in business, like to do more of less. However, it's not one is business operations, one is HR, one is customer service, one is phone calls. Like, there's so many faculties that AI can be leveraged in. And it's almost this naiveness of everyone can benefit from AI. Like, I'm yet to find a business that can't benefit from the most basic implementations and just understandings of which tools to leverage and to use for the right use cases.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm like, crap, like everyone can benefit and I want to help everyone, but not everyone's going to pay the amount or pay the bills. And it might be a lot longer, like exactly what you said there at the end, Dave, where if I say yes to this one client who wants a website done, but I know the website's going to take me a month to get done, I could instead get another client or spend 2 weeks to get a client that does an AI audit, which pays twice as much as the website. And I do it in 90 minutes. I just spent the last 2 weeks getting it, but I wouldn't be able to get that if I said yes to the website.
It's all is a bird in the hand worth two in the bush as well, especially as startups and when you're getting your first clients. Do you just say yes to everything because it's revenue and cash flow? Probably, and you just have to deal with the opportunity cost at that point. But then trying to balance the workflow and work that out and go, okay, I need cash today, and this person's offering me cash. I should take that cash versus, you know what, I've got a bit of a buffer, and I think I'm actually doing active things every week. I'm not just waiting for that audit to drop in my lap in 2 weeks' time. I'm doing things to generate that. Creating content and doing podcasts and getting my name out there and DMing people and reaching out and making phone calls and knocking on doors and handing out brochures and spinning the big arrow on the corner of the traffic lights, doing whatever it is that you want to do to promote your business.
Yeah.
And that comes back to the balance of that. So, yeah, I mean, for which business do you help most? Again, it's like, and I think this is a hard thing. And I'm a generalist. I'm a born generalist. I'm a bit of everything. Can dive into anything. Can learn a bit of everything. Where do you niche down to when you don't know who's going to pay you yet, and you're like, oh, I don't want to over niche down because maybe I'll miss a big old market opportunity, right? I think that's the challenge of every business when you get started, trying to work out who you are and where you should focus. Because I think, like you said, with your priorities, if everything's important, nothing's important, and if you can serve all the clients, you'll probably end up serving none of the clients.
Exactly.
And so I mean that's why I just went down to the blueprint thing. And when yes, I could do AI coaching, and I've done some AI workshops when I was getting started, and that's an opportunity. And I can do some delivery stuff, although there's guys like Matt that I can probably better off engaging to help me do delivery stuff than me trying to produce that. Where do I fit? that's there. But again, now which sort of target customers do I target? And I was discussing this with this other consultant yesterday around what is your key business size? Where do they feel the pain? Who knows they've got pain? How do you reach them? Like, who's got the money to actually pay you? Like solopreneurs, entrepreneurs that are just kicking off, they might really be able to leverage some of this AI stuff, but they also are very cash poor and can't afford to pay you.
Exactly. Yeah.
I caught up with another someone I also used to work with a few months back, and she was saying that she was getting involved in the startup community. She was doing like personal coaching, and she found out that all the startup people have no money. So she's like, it's great that I'm involved in these communities, but I'm not going to get paid. Working with all these startups, I need to work out where the communities are, where there's people that actually can afford to pay for what you offer. And when you've got lots of money, then you can do pro bono work, or we produce free content and put it out on YouTube to help people out.
That's actually a huge goal of mine, to be like a really massive proponent of open source software and to be able to empower people with stuff that they wouldn't get access to otherwise.
You mentioned the Ralph guy. He's like, I don't use open source anymore. I just code it. Like I just I Ralph it. Like I don't need to use open source libraries. I just get Ralph to go rebuild it now.
It's true. And for people that have access to that kind of level of understanding of software engineering and where it's going, there's a lot of exciting stuff happening there. As someone, like, to piggyback on Marno's like point and question really quick, as someone who's been that guy that's accepted everything that's come his way and sort of said yes to everything just to try and get experience, and then felt the weird, uncomfortable sting of not being able to fulfill everyone because you've taken on too much. The only like advice I have for anyone who is finding themselves in that same position is go really, really heavily on scoping the project. So like when you're saying yes, just say, yeah, of course, but we need to actually discuss this properly. Let's get everything figured out. Do proper proposals. You can be informal, but make sure that there's that like tennis game, send the thing over, get the answers, okay, revise, send the thing over again. Because in that process, if you don't like working with the person just to establish a plan, then you're not going to like working with them to actually fulfill. So
that's a very good play. I actually like that a lot. That's a very good method of approaching it, because I'm now in hindsight reflecting on a few past jobs. And if I had that, the job would have been easier, and I also would have known earlier to not have taken on that job.
Yeah, definitely.
Good play. I'm putting that on my little to-do list.
I have one goal every time I speak to Marno, and it's for him to write something down.
Brilliant. Well, thanks guys. We're coming to the end of the hour. We'll try and keep this generally an hour-ish show. We'll see how the chats go. I think episode 1, I called it "Start a New Chat," a bit tongue-in-cheek. That's all the prompts sort of pop up normally, sort of something along those lines. And this is a new chat for us, new chat for the audience. Had a bunch of people coming in and out as we've been going on. So if you've been here for the full hour, thank you. We are back every week. This is a live show, no safety net. And so you're just going to hear unfiltered commentary and banter. And as we continue to connect, the banter will grow, and so will the insights. So thank you, boys. Any last things you want to leave the audience with before we wrap up?
My one is, don't be afraid of learning. Like I picture somebody like my dad who wants to learn something, but he has that intense anxiety and fear of actually starting it because it's different. Just find the least friction way for you to engage, even agentically, using ChatGPT, Claude, whatever, and just discuss it slowly. Just don't be afraid to learn.
Nice.
I want to build on that, and 100% say is, when you're learning, you're going to suck. It's part of the process. Accept it. Everyone goes through it. You have to, you don't expect someone to start playing tennis and pick it up immediately. So give yourself the grace that you give others, and just keep on trying. Yeah, keep on learning.
Brilliant. Great insights, guys. Get out there, just play, ask agents questions. There's so many things out there. Don't feel like you're missing out because there's so much content out there. Pick something that you're interested in and give that a go. You don't have to 100%. Be great at everything and learn everything. I'm strongly resisting the urge to try and install MoltBot because I just don't have the time for it yet. And maybe it'll be a huge productivity gain, but maybe it'll just be a time suck, and I've got other things I've got to knock off first.
Sounds like I need to make you a YouTube video. Nice clean cut, quick one.
I'm here for it.
Yep. Brilliant. Well, thanks, guys. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, and we'll see you back here next week. Thanks, gentlemen. Thank you. If anyone wants to engage further with any of us, all our links are in the description at the bottom. And of course, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon to hear when we go live. Next week, Wednesdays, every Wednesday, we'll be back, and we'll see you next week. Thanks, boys.
I love it. Take care. See you, lads.
See ya.